Thank you for joining the Reverend Dr. Sean Michael Greener, radio host, national pastor, author, and speaker for Sundays with Dr. Sean. Hold on tight. Here comes the truth.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, it's been a long time. I'm going to need a few minutes to see if I've got everything hooked up right. I haven't done this in a long time. Long time. So you'll have to tell me if it's correct or not correct. If you can, do, let's see here. See comments. I'm not sure. I haven't done this in a long time, so I really don't remember how to do it. I have a pretty serious brain injury, so hopefully you can hear me as you plug in. I hope that you will send me a message and let me know that you can hear it. I'll wait a few minutes just to be fair to others who are wanting to tune in. And this is going to be two parts in one. It's not going to be that long. I know you've heard that from me before, but I don't have the physical stamina to sit up in the chair that long. I can sit in my recumbent trike for a long time, but I can't sit in this chair or straight up and down chairs for very long. So I have no clue whether this is going out or not. I don't see any. Let's see here. Let's just see. See if anybody's plugged in. We'll check our monitoring here. Is that making any sound at all? I don't know. Let's see here. Turn this up. Well, if anybody's plugged in, we'll check our monitoring. Sounds like we're audible. Let's check some comments here. It's working. I can hear you. Awesome. So we'll put that on there. Thank you for joining me. Hey, Krista Marie and Lynette, how are you? Good to see you. I've been thinking about doing this for quite some time, and my mind has really surged with a lot of thoughts going all the way back to lots of different things. Truthfully, when I did my book tour, I wrote two books. One book is called Excellence Killed the Church, How Mediocrity is Destroying America. The other book is called The Bible Study for Real People, and I'm republishing The Bible Study for Real People under a different publisher because the first one ripped me off and went out of business. They said out of COVID, but they didn't pay me a dime. They took all my money. Oh well, jingle bells, and that just is what it is. That being said, there's two things that I want to really focus on. There's a spiritual aspect, and then there's the political aspect. And as you know, I did, for several years, I did a show. We had about 4 million listeners at our peak, vlog and podcast, I guess you would say. And then we also simulbroadcast live on the radio. So I did this show called God and Country, The Collision of Faith and Politics. The person who came up with that name has now gone to his reward, my dear, dear friend, Jerry Summers. And Jerry and I were very, very close, and I look forward to joining him again in heaven. He is an amazing human being. Just wow. So as you tune in, just hit the comments button, if you would. Just hit that comments button so I know you're there. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've done this, and I just don't know. I really don't know at all if it's working the way that it's supposed to, the way it used to. So I did a book tour for the first book. I didn't do a book tour for the second book. But Excellence Killed the Church, How Mediocrity is Destroying America. I did a book tour all across the country for about 5 months. Most book tours are several weeks, but this one was 5 months. And it was a blessing to do. I got to go to a lot of neat places. I got to spend a lot of time in places that are very, very conservative and places that aren't as conservative, but predominantly we went to places where the book would be well received, obviously. And during that course of time, we really learned a lot about how America was thinking and receiving the political climate of that time, not only the political climate of that time, I guess I can take this thing off, not only the political climate of that time, but also I don't know how really I would put it, the religious climate, the seeds of detriment, the seeds of destruction that were coming to the United States. And I was talking about that quite a bit. I mean, a whole lot. I was talking about that a whole lot. And in some of the places where I was speaking, people were really, really torn up over it. They just couldn't believe, that was just so foreign to them. They said, how could this be? This just really seems impossible. And some of the things I was saying were really difficult. They were extremely difficult. And as a result of those things, sometimes people tune me out. Now, we had, like I said, radio-wise and podcast-wise, we had about 4 million at our peak. We did a show called Sundays with Dr. Sean. Our dear, dear friend, Jill Stabley, has gone to her reward, and we pray for the Stabley family. She actually passed on my birthday, in the morning of my birthday. And love her to death. She's just the most precious person. And I'm sure heaven is just rejoicing having her and Jerry and so many others there. There's so many things we could pray for. I could go into that and pray for an hour and still not cover 1/1000th of the needs out there. But my purpose of this broadcast, like I said, is to kind of, it's to bring you back a little bit. Now, I say bring you back a little bit because I really feel like you need to understand why we're where we are. And like I started to say, it was a lot of people were really put off by some of the things that I was saying on my book tour, and some of the things I said in Excellence Killed the Church, and some of the things that I said in God and Country, The Collision of Faith and Politics. Most of those people that were offended were Christians. And most of those people that were offended were, church-going people, people of faith, conservatives, people that believed, that if we just tell the truth and we just do the right thing, it'll all work out. And I was saying to them, I said, listen, I went back to a point in time where the takeover really began. And you say, well, that's harsh language. Then you would say that's harsh language. Now you wouldn't say that's harsh language. Now you would say, wow, holy crap, he was telling the truth. And a lot of people said, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't, you're a nut job, a kook, conspiracy theorist, all these different things. And that's okay. None of that stuff offended me, but I was concerned for the country. And all of the time that I spent in other places in the world and all the time that I spent in other places in this country, I really talked to a lot of people. When I say a lot of people, I mean lots of people. And I have to tell you that those people were reluctant to accept, some of those people were reluctant to accept the reality of a lot of what I was saying. I gave a speech one time in the Villages, and I want to say there was maybe 3,000 people there. There were supposed to be, those people didn't come to hear me speak, they came to hear a big famous guy speak. And he got stuck, and so they asked me at last minute, would you step in and speak? So they were there, so I said, why not? And one of the things I told that group of great people is, listen, for about 25, 30 years, and this was 2012, 2013, about 25, 30 years, other countries have been slowly and carefully inserting spies into our country. And their interest is in assimilating, appearing to assimilate. And so when in their country, they would study language, and they would study every dialect of our language. They would learn our mannerisms. They would learn not only the linguistics of what we did, but how we moved. They would learn not only the words and how we moved, but the idiomatic language, the language that's sort of not slang, but idioms. Look up idioms sometimes. The Hebrew language is full of idioms. It's very, very strong with idiomatic language. I say that to say this. I said to the crowd then, and the radio, and all across the country, and all across the world, I said, listen, these people have been here a long time. It's not just Russia. It's China. It's other places as well. And they're here, and we don't know that they're here. We know that they're here, but we don't know that they're here. We don't accept that they're here, but they're here. I know that for a fact. My job had a lot to do with knowing that for a fact. That said, I said also at the time that they, if we become too overly focused, singularly focused on them, we're going to miss the other enemy. And the other enemy is the enemy that is within, that started here, that was born here, that was educated here. All of those things. Now that enemy, they are us. Right? Antifa, they just look like smelly punks. BLM, punks. The BLM movement has nothing to do with black people. It's two lesbians, militant lesbians, who hate men, hate the family, hate the American patriarchy, hate capitalism, and want to destroy it. It's got nothing to do with black people. Their agenda has no intent to benefit black people. There, I said it. Go to their website if you think I'm lying. Antifa is a communist, fascist organization, socialist organization, but really they are a terrorist organization. Now, I said back then that the press is wholly and completely educated in these ultra-liberal institutions that have been taken over by not only people from these other countries, but people from within that sympathize and identify with these other countries that are communistic and socialistic and that want to take over America. And what I heard during my book signings and during this question and answer period, because I always had question and answer periods, no matter how long it took, was why would people who love America want to destroy this great country? It doesn't make sense. Why would they do that? Why would they want to mess up prosperity? Why would they want to mess up the good that we have here? Right? Stock market climbing, people working, fuel prices which disproportionately impact middle income people and business people were reasonable. All of these things, all of these things. We were really innovating, doing a lot of things. Why would they want to do that? And I said, don't spend any time worrying about why people do what they do. And I want you to understand, we're also simulcasting on Spreaker. Go to The Ninja Pastor on SPREAKER.com. Sign up it's a free app. I paid for it, so you don't have to. Anyway. And that's just audio only, and it'll remember, if you download the app, which is free, it downloads in less than a minute. We don't collect your data. It will remember where you were listening. So if you're driving, much like audiobooks, if you're driving, it'll remember where you were when you stop, and it'll pick right back up there. No big deal. Share it with your friends. Tell everybody you know. Share this with your friends. So I said back then, I was a latecomer to social media. The person I traveled with that sponsored my book tour, she had over 130,000 Twitter followers. Now, many of those Twitter followers were not authentic Twitter followers. They were bots and things like that. We didn't know, the general American public didn't know much about bots and spiders and all these things. And so as a result of those number, people would pay her to, or they would pay entrance fees to go to these expensive events just so she would be there and tweet about the event. That's not uncommon. If you have millions of followers, you can make lots and lots of money on affiliate earnings, as well as people paying you. Hey, would you tweet this out? Same way with Facebook and all that. It's all a big money-making thing. People would say, how's Twitter and Facebook free? It ain't free. So they mined all of our data. I said, they're mining your data. I'm not going to not be on it because, they're mining my data, because this is a tool that I'm using to redeem for good. I understand that they're going to use it for bad, and I get that. There's nothing I can do about it other than go silently into my peaceful day and night, live out the remaining number of years, and let come what is coming, what is here now, but what more is coming. And so I would say to the people, listen, you need to understand that the people behind social media are bad people. They're evil people. They were educated in that same destructive education system that's been overtaken by the ultra-leftists and other countries. They've been overtaken by that, and they this is what they believe, and so they're running these things, and they're billionaires, so their mind is mush from the they have this dystopian view of what America is, and they don't know what it is. They're lost. They're completely and utterly lost. Anyway, to bring you forward, I remember when Barack Obama was elected. Now, you can look at Barack Obama and you can say a lot of things about him. Obviously, now we know a lot more about him than we knew then. And we know that he's an evil guy. Barack Hussein Obama is not a good person. Michelle Obama, not a good person. The people that surround them, not good people. We know that the Clintons are not good people. We know that they're evil people. People die around them. Trillions of dollars go missing from our pockets because of these people. But I also said back then, which was extremely unpopular, I said during the Obama era, I said, listen, the GOP is falling apart. It's weak. It's very weak. There's some strong people in it, but they're, for the most part, Republicans are very, very weak. They're timid. They're not fighters. We need a fighter. We need somebody that'll get in there and throat punch. Well, that didn't happen. We got Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney is milquetoast. You say, what? You supported Mitt Romney. I'm certainly not going to support Barack Obama. We can apply more pressure to Mitt Romney successfully than we can to Barack Obama. Once Barack Obama was in, he'd bring all his people in, he'd do all these things. God forbid they had a majority. And one of the things I talked about more than anything else is, God forbid we let these people have a majority in Congress, right? I said that repeatedly. I said, hey, thank you for all these messages. That's so nice. Welcome back. Missed you. Ooh, people listening from all over the place. That's pretty cool. Hey, listen, thank you very much for that. It's encouraging. So I said, listen, these people get a majority, and it's over for America. I said it back in 2008, 2007, 2008. It's over for America. They get a majority. No matter who's in the White House, we have to have a majority. We cannot allow them to have a majority in Congress. I said, this is the most critical thing that we could ever do. And I said, governorships. You have to, politics are local. You have to get people into your local politics all the way up through to your governors, your Congress people. You have to have conservatives, because that's the only thing that's going to stop them. You don't understand. They're going to do horrible things if they get into a majority. Well, now look what we see now. Now listen, if you're one of those people, I'm going to move in to the next part of my message here in a moment. And I hope that you stay tuned in for it, because God really impressed upon me. He actually woke me out of a sound sleep to write this. But I want to say this to you. Here we are now. And if you actually believe, if you're, let's say you're a conservative, and you believe that Joe Biden got 80 million votes, precipitously more votes significantly more votes than Barack Obama, the number one vote getter of all time, then you're insane. Sorry, you're deluded. Insane, deluded, whatever word you want to use. You can't. My friends, you have to understand how this whole thing works, right? You have to understand how this works. You have to understand that no matter what you do, reality is what it is. Right? Reality is what it is. You can't run from reality. Reality will make itself apparent whether you accept it or not. So if you're a liberal and you're one of those people who think, well, yeah, look, Joe Biden, this is a referendum on Donald Trump. You don't see anybody. My friend Kim, great friend all the way through high school. Kim said today, you don't see any liberals jumping up and down all excited about what Biden is doing. You're right. They're not excited about it. This is part of a much bigger thing. Listen, if you think that the vote wasn't stolen, that they didn't cheat, my dear friend, Gold Star father, Mike Dieterman, great friend from Arizona. I did a post one time. I said, listen, you've got not to him, but he responded to the post, to the general public that believes that there's some underlying thing that at the last second, the 11th hour, Donald Trump's plan is going to come through, and the generals are going to take over, and the this and the that and the other thing. This is going to happen, and boy, it's going to be great. No. It's not happening. Reality is what reality is. Q is a fraud. Any of the other fringe crap around that, fraud. When you send me a video and you say this person found this out and they're sharing this, watch it quick and share it quick before they take it down. I delete that. I delete it. It's not reality. All of these big things, but no, this is going to happen, and then this person is going to do this. The generals are, the reason the National Guard is in D.C. is because on February whatever, they're going to take Congress into custody. You can take Biden, and we know that Biden is a liar. He's been a liar his whole life. He even lied about the circumstances of his first wife's death. He even lied about the circumstances of how he got with his second wife, his current wife, Jill Biden. He lies about everything. And the people around him lie about everything. Jen Psaki, her name's pronounced Psaki, but Jen Psaki sucks. We know that. Kaylee, we miss you. We miss you, girl. That being said, I want to say this. And I think it's very, very important. Thank you to all you who have plugged in and listening. That's awesome. This is very important. Let go of the fantasy that there's some plan, that President Trump is still working, and he's doing this, that, and the other. I think President Trump deserves the highest honor we can bequeath upon him. The highest honor in this country. The man is a hero. His family, they are heroes. Never before has a president had $1 billion when he came to office and lost $1 billion as a result of serving as president. Never has a president had to spend so much money from before he was elected, duly elected by us, you and me. We went to the polls come hell or high water, right? We went to the polls again. Some people are yelling at their Republican friends, why didn't you go to the polls? Why we didn't go, we didn't support him enough. Listen, if you can look around this country and see the millions of people who braved the blazing hot Arizona temperatures, the North Carolina temperatures. I know I stood in 100 degrees and 100% humidity. Bonnie and I stood in that, and my face about melted, and that president went by. President Donald J. Trump went by, and I'm telling you, he was so happy, waving at everybody. It's just amazing. I posted pictures of it. It was amazing, and even video. So I'm just telling you this, that if you really think in the back of your mind that Biden somehow won legitimately, you're insane. Stop thinking that. That's delusional. If you think that President Trump, former President Trump, has got something up his sleeve, that one last little thing, he's a winner. He is a winner. But he is recognized he is no longer in office. He did what he could do. Encourage him, support him, send to Mar-a-Lago letters. Now, granted, it's not going to go first to him. It's going to go through a screening system. It's a whole different thing. They x-ray everything. They sniff it. All this stuff. Nothing actually goes directly there. Just so you know. For obvious reasons. There's never been a more maligned president than this president. Was he gruff? Yes. I don't care. You need a throat puncher. You need a war fighter. He understood. And he was telling the American people, listen, folks, this is what we're up against. This is reality, and if you don't recognize it, we are doomed. There's only so much I can do, he said. And he highlighted and put a spotlight on the weak people in the GOP. You say, I don't like how he says things about certain people. When they turn on him or they don't do this or that, what he wants them to do, he turns on them. He really lays them out. Oh, that's kind of low class. Really? Really? McConnell? Romney? He knew who Romney was. He knew who Romney was before I knew who Romney was. He knew who McConnell was before I knew who McConnell was. But then you got people like Jim Jordan. They're in it to win it. You got so many others. I don't want to name any more because I'll skip somebody and then their feelings get hurt. Support them. The real deals. The real deals. Support them. Run people for your local office. Run people for your Congress. Run people for your senators and all that stuff. Run good people for it. Run good people for your governors. It's critical. We are entering a dark time. I hate to tell you, it's true. But there's not some QAnon story, fantasy that's going to come true. It's not. And there's a lot of people that I know and love who follow that almost with a religious fervor. I'm telling you, it's fraudulent. The left has been playing you. And to some extent, all of America. Let it go. That's not how we're going to win. Center for Self-Governance. Look it up on the internet. The Center for Self-Governance. My dear friend founded it with a bunch of great people, great patriots. He has the answer. But you're going to be willing over the next 3 years to educate yourself. To learn how to win in politics. Now, you can come back at me and say, well, it's too late now, Dr. Sean. We've got to go after them. Listen, our forefathers would have been shooting by now. Let me tell you something. I've been in countries as they were falling apart. I've been in countries as people are shooting each other, neighbor shooting neighbor, turning each other in, brother turning brother in, father turning son in. I've been there. I've watched it happen. I've seen the blood spilled. I've seen the sacrifice that our people, our good people, our great treasure has sacrificed to help them. We're not those people. We're not hard like they are. We're not strong like they are. Now, some of us might be, but not enough. Not enough. This is a soft country. We've been lulled to sleep by entertainment. Now, all these entertainers that we're now ticked off about, right? We're all ticked off about these entertainers. I told you, 2012, these entertainers are fools. They only have influence because they're entertainers. Because we watch them in their movies. They contradict everything that they do. Everything that they do. They contradict everything. They're completely contradictory. They're self-serving. And they're completely uneducated. But people watch them because they have millions of people go to the movies and watch the movies. They have millions of people buy their albums. They're wealthy beyond imagination. And they make friendships with people at the top who are part of this takeover. And then you listen to them. The companies that you pay, that you give money to, the people that hate you, they hate our way of living, that hate our faith. Listen, these are godless people. They don't care about you. They don't care about you. They don't give one whit about you. Or our way of life or our faith. They hate God and anything about Him. They think they're gods. Stop putting money in their pockets. Unions, including the American Medical Association, crooked as they come. National Education Association, crooked as it comes. Teachers going on strike because they don't want to go back to school. Okay, take their pay away. Oh, you don't want to go back to school? Okay. Well, tell you what, since you don't have to leave your house, what we're going to do is we're going to cut your pay until we go back to school. That's what we're going to do. Oh, and if you don't want to teach it all at home, you say, well, that's not real education, but it's not safe for me to go to school. I don't think you're a doctor. We're going to let you go. Lots of people in college become teachers. We see how important in-person learning is and how important it isn't. Colleges all across the country not giving a break to parents and students. Meal plan, they're not even at school. They're home. They're not giving them their meal plan money back. They're not giving them their dorm fees back. They're not giving them their activity fees back. They're going. It's not because they don't have money. They have a ton of money. I don't want to go too far afield with this. I want to say this to you. Stop making these people rich. Poverty. Make them poor. Let's say there's gas stations in your neighborhood. Find out who the conservative owner is. Buy your gas only from them. Let's say there's a small store look, Amazon rules the world. Don't think they don't. Find out who sells it and buy it from that person directly. Search it out. Use a different search engine than Google or whatever else. Go to MeWe. Go to Parlor. Listen, make Parlor stand. Support Parlor. They're trying to break their backs. Listen, they're trying to do the politics of personal destruction against Donald Trump and family so he'll never come back. So this impeachment has nothing to do with Constitution because it's extraordinarily baseless and extraordinarily unconstitutional. But they are in charge. They have the majority, and they will win. For whatever it means, they will win. Put that in your head. Make them poor. Poverty has a way of bringing to reality the most haughty person you've ever seen. Take them from here and put them here. America, you're not ready for a war. We're not ready to fight another enemy, let alone the enemy within. We're not ready to take arms. We're not ready to do any of that stuff. We're not ready to do any of that stuff. We're not. Get a grip. Well, there's 215 million guns, and they're buying guns and getting concealed carry permits at a record rate. Really? The average number of rounds that somebody buys is 50. You put the gun up on their shelf after they get their permit, and it gets rusty and it gets dusty. And then they don't remember how to load it. They don't know what rounds go into what. If you're going to buy a gun, train with it. But there's not this massive mega million number of people. Well, the military is not going to allow this to happen. I can't remember how many times. Mega million number of people. We don't want that. I can't remember how many times people said the military's not going to let this happen. They're not going to let this happen. This voter fraud and this mail-in thing. When the mail-in thing came up, the mail-in ballots came up. They're not even ballots. They're being delivered by the thousands to apartment complexes of people that can't even vote. They counted votes with people that have no basis to vote in this country at all. No legitimate right to vote. We should have risen up then, but we didn't. We were quiet. We were peaceful. We said, well, the Congress people, they know what they're doing. Anyway, God woke me up with this, and I want to share it with you. God is not looking for duplicates. He's looking for disciples. And you say, what in the world does this have to do with this diatribe you just went off on? Well, you'll find out. Let me read to you Psalm 19. The heavens are declaring the glory of God, and their expanse shows the work of his hands. Day after day they pour forth speech. Night after night they reveal knowledge. There is no speech, nor are there words. Their voice is not heard, yet their message goes out into all the world, and their words to the end of the earth. He has set up a tent for the sun in the heavens, which is like a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, or like a champion who rejoices at the beginning of a race. Its circuit is hidden. Its circuit is from one end of the sky to the other, and nothing is hidden from its heat. The law of the Lord is perfect, restoring life. The testimony of the Lord is steadfast, making foolish people wise. The precepts of the Lord are upright, making the heart rejoice. The commandment of the Lord is pure, giving light to the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, standing forever. The judgments of the Lord are true. They are altogether righteous. They are more desirable than gold, even much fine gold. They are sweeter than honey, even the drippings from a honeycomb. Moreover, your servant is warned by them, and there is a great reward in keeping them. Who can detect his own mistake? Cleanse me from hidden sin. Preserve your servant from arrogant people. Do not let them rule over me. Then I will be upright and acquitted of great wickedness. May the words of my mouth and meditations of my heart be acceptable in your sight, Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Listen, when we are in the fledgling first steps of faith, we call out into the dark and we say, God. There's a question mark there, maybe 3 or 4. God, as we begin to believe, but we haven't fully surrendered. We just aren't all the way there yet. Then we say, God. Kind of suspicious a little bit. We say, God. Then when we're fully surrendered, totally yielded, we call out to God, knowing he's there, here, everywhere, listening to our call. God. Lord. He doesn't just redeem us when we fully surrender to Yeshua or to Jesus. He doesn't. No. He resurrects us from eternal death. What he saves us from. You look at Revelation at our church in Hampstead, North Carolina. Phenomenal, phenomenal church. Grace Community of Topsail. Phenomenal. Pastor Steve Marshall is preaching on Revelation. I would encourage you, if you're anywhere around, come see us at 10 a.m. We hug. We shake hands. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't want to shake hands, shake. You don't have to. Nobody forces you. If you want to have social distance, there's plenty of space for it. But if you want to, we're there. And Pastor Steve talks about this, and it's profound, and it's one of the things that attracted me to his teaching, is because I teach this way. I say Revelation is not, yes, it's apocalyptic in the sense that it is a warning. It is I'm reaching out to you and I'm telling you these things so that you won't be part of the suffering. Now, I also like that Pastor Steve makes it very clear what is the truth, that Christians will absolutely suffer because you're a person of faith. You will not escape suffering if you're alive. We will have tribulation. We're having tribulation now, and believe you me, by the end of the next 3 years, 4 years, it's going to get a lot worse. And I mean a lot worse. And we are not prepared. Most of us are not prepared in our faith. I've heard it testified. May I be so surrendered to Christ that his radiant brightness on me casts no shadow. You might think that we're at the end of this crazy year, beginning of this 2021, and all of it's chaos, and maybe you think all is lost. Maybe you think that it's either all lost or it's close to it. No, we aren't lost because God isn't lost. We're his. I've seen it a million times. When we are fully, recklessly surrendered to Yeshua, to Jesus Christ, he comes through right near the end for us. Now, that coming through may not look like you want it to look. That coming through might not look like, oh, well, these people get arrested, and this happens and that happens. No. Heaven awaits us. Glory awaits us. Those that are truly saved, those who truly have embraced Christ and placed their faith in them and repented of their sins. Are you hopeless? Are you anxious? Are you afraid? Are you confused? Are you bone weary? Are your spirits heavy? Are you bound by habits? Are you bound by hang-ups? Are you bound by your hurts? I want to encourage you to be resurrected finally and completely until that last day through Jesus Christ. Through Yeshua today. Place your faith in him. Fully and finally. Lean into him. The times are going to be perilous. And I'm telling you, I have no fear of it. I love Jesus and he loves me. God has blessed me beyond my wildest imaginations. I want to ask you, if you're a person struggling, do you need to be finally free from your hurts, habits, and hang-ups? Do you need to be finally free from your fears, from your anxiety, from your weariness? I want to encourage you to be resurrected and finally free through Yeshua today, through Jesus Christ today. You say, how do I do that? It's a prayer that's so simple, most don't believe it. But it's not just that simple prayer. It's a change of life, a day-by-day change of life. It doesn't mean that it's all going to change at once because we are flawed, broken human beings. And we're sinners. We all have hurts, habits, and hang-ups. But we say, and we mean from our heart, God, I believe you're real. I believe that you created all that's heaven and all that is earth. I believe you created me. And I believe you sent your Son, Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach, to earth to live 33 perfect years, to be sacrificed on the cross, though sinless, placed in a borrowed grave, and he rose again and is sitting next to you now. I believe in the resurrected Jesus Christ, and I commit my life to you. Please forgive me of my sins. Please forgive me and help me with my hurts, habits, and hang-ups. I accept you into my heart today. If you've prayed that prayer, I want you to send me a note to smgreener@gmail.com. Send it through Facebook, through direct messenger. Send it however you want. I'll be listening and I'll reach out to you. If you don't have a Bible, we'll get you a Bible if you can't afford one. I will make sure that you have the resources that you need. One way or another. The times are going to get tough. They're going to get a lot tougher than you can even imagine. If you're a person already of faith, but you find yourself wavering these times, you find yourself in complete fear, place your faith again in God. He's the real deal. He's the only deal. God bless you and keep you. Thank you for sharing this with everyone you know.